He quarterbacked one of the greatest teams in Syracuse University history. In 1987, he finished second in the Heisman Trophy race and was honored as the most outstanding player and quarterback in the country. A member of the College Football Hall of Fame, he played pro ball for 7 seasons. But away from football, his real-life passion revolves around being a catalyst for social change. For his contributions both on and off the field, Don McPherson is a Syracuse legend.
Welcome to Syracuse Legends. I'm Mark Larson, a unanimous All-American, a Heisman Trophy runner-up, and the captain of only the second unbeaten team in SU history. Quarterback Don McPherson had a season to remember in 1987. Not bad for a high school kid from West Hempstead, Long Island, who overcame challenges and dared to dream big.
I was the youngest of 3 boys. There were five of us kids, but 3 boys. Both of my brothers were really good football players, and I was the 3rd one coming up. And so I got to watch them play. I got to watch them do their thing. And actually, my first couple of years of playing youth football, I chickened out. I ran off the field, embarrassed, crying, thought I was going to be a failure. And then eventually, it caught on. And then I actually transferred from a high school that my brothers went to a different high school that was actually better in football, specifically just to play football. I was starting to excel in high school. Actually, by the time I got to high school, I was doing fairly well. I started playing as a sophomore on the varsity, which was sort of a big deal as a quarterback. And so it wasn't until my sophomore year really that I really started to think that there was a potential to go to college and play football. When I transferred to a different high school because of the game, I was one of very few African Americans in that school. And I was very aware of that and very outspoken about that. My question to all the college recruiters was, when was the last time your school had a black quarterback? And how are your trustees and I'm sure I didn't use the word trustees, but how's the alumni and your fan base going to respond to a black quarterback? If you've talked to Coach Mack at all, you know that he's very blunt and straightforward in the way that he approaches things. His direct line was, I don't care if you're green, yellow, or purple. If you can help me win, you're going to play quarterback. I made my decision right after the first week of visits, and I canceled all my other college visits. As a young man, the things that you loved about Coach Mack when you met him are the things you hated about him when he coached you. And that was, he was very much like a father. He was very much a father figure. He had very strong values that you loved when you met him, and your parents loved when you met him. And he was tough, but he was very, very compassionate, and he was always upbeat and almost entertaining in his demeanor. But then when it came down time for football, he was equally as tough. And that's what made you better. He demanded professionalism. I enjoyed people who empowered you to do your job and then left you alone. And, you know, to use Coach Mack's phrase, to let it fly.
Main goal here is to break into the starting position sometime this year. And Todd's a good quarterback, and it's going to be hard. It's going to take a lot of work.
In my very first game down at Temple, freshman year, very first game I got to play, and tore ligaments in my left knee. And so I spent my entire first year in rehabbing my left knee. And so that was very difficult. And then to come back the year after, once again, probably not physically strong enough, separated my left shoulder and spent half of that season in a sling. My first 2 years here were very discouraging at best. And I'd considered transferring because I was falling down the depth chart and didn't feel like I was, excelling or progressing in any way. I think it was actually a blessing to have to watch the game, to have to watch not just the game, but to watch the preparation around the game, to understand what it really takes, to not just to perform well, but to perform consistently. And really, I think more importantly was understanding what your role was, or what my role was. The injuries and the setbacks, while they were discouraging and I doubted myself at times, once you got on the field, once you got into the weight room, once you started studying, you started seeing how the game worked, then you started to see those opportunities where you had, you had the opportunity for success.
Despite those first two injury-plagued seasons, Don McPherson fought back, ready to take on the challenge that goes with being a team leader.
I think sometimes from the outside, we forget how intense this is. If you're not 100% in, you're out.
The Orange were definitely all in 1987. We'll relive one of the greatest seasons in SU history when Syracuse legends continue.
I think you go into every season with the optimism that something special can happen.
And McPherson options it beautifully down the line. He's running toward the end zone, and he is in for the touchdown.
Welcome back. Don McPherson returned for his senior season with a new sense of energy and enthusiasm. He was ready, and his team was ready to make 1987 a season to remember.
In '86, we had a losing season. People were calling for Coach Mack's job. They wanted him out. The fan base wanted him out.
McPherson must go. When are we getting a new coach?
Goodbye, Mac. We're glad to see you go.
That's the end of the game with a score, Rutgers 16 and Syracuse 10.
And Coach Mack told us to take the Sunday off, except the defense had a meeting with him at 6, and the offense had a meeting with him at 7. And I actually believe that evening was a turning point for us, because he talked about little things, but he talked about them loud and long. And we got the message, and we started to turn it around. We won the second half of that season, and I'll never forget the night before we played West Virginia at West Virginia in '86. Matt called me up in the room. He said, "Listen, we're going to do some things tomorrow that are going to look a lot like what we do next year." There was an entire playbook at my disposal on every snap. I do remember that the summer of '87, I was in the best shape of my life. And as a team, I think that we were all in the best shape that we'd ever been in. Off-season conditioning wasn't just going out and running and lifting weights. It was a competition every single day with your teammates. And so there's no way that I could have not been as competitive as I was. I felt like as a team, we were on the brink. We started to see more talent being recruited, and we were getting better. We were so prepared for games because we worked so hard in practice, and I remember that. I remember our practices being intense in preparation. We took a pledge prior to the season to be alcohol-free, because it meant that we were going to look after each other. It meant that we were trying to do something unique and special. It's how you love each other. And we had a team of guys who really loved each other. We had a great time.
3rd down and 1. McPherson is over. Touchdown.
When we won that first game against Maryland, and Jake Crowtham, the AD, came in and said, 1 down, and everyone said 10 to go, and he said 1 down, 1 to go. And when he did that, there was a switch that really was, I think it was a really important thing. 1 down, 1 to go, 2 down, 1 to go. It was always just 1 to go. I think that team and that time was that we really did reflect in many ways Coach Mack's philosophy of work hard, get yourself prepared, and then go have fun playing the game. We had a week off prior to Penn State. So any bumps and bruises that we had, we got a chance to rest. We were just hitting our stride in everything that we were trying to do, offensively especially. And watching film, it was almost perfect. You just watched where Penn State was vulnerable was where we were good.
McPherson cranking it up and going long. Moore is out there. He's got it. He could go all the way. The first play of the game. Touchdown, Syracuse.
Everything was going in our direction. Penn State wasn't as good, even though they were defending national champions. They weren't as good. We were better than we'd ever been. We had them at home. The fans were behind us. We were healthy, and we were a little cocky.
The option, keep, untouched, touchdown.
I think our confidence level at that point was in a place that was perfect to solve that 17-year problem that we couldn't beat Penn State. That banner at the varsity hadn't been turned over in 17 years. It was time to settle the dust on the bottom of that banner. And so 6 down, 1 to go.
Now, we are going to take you right back to Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. And remember, the Mountaineers of West Virginia in a position to score one of the hugest upsets in the history of the school, and with a win could be headed to the Independence Bowl. As for Syracuse, they're in the sugar, but will it be sweet?
Psychologically, West Virginia was always the worst team to play for me. But the other thing that happened prior to that game was we accepted the bid to the Sugar Bowl before the game. We had a press conference before the game.
It's a great pleasure to speak for these fine young people and their coaches in accepting the very fine offer of the Sugar Bowl to play at New Orleans on January 1, 1988. And with great pleasure, we accept your invitation. Thank you very much.
I was furious about that. I didn't think it should have been done before the game. I think it went against everything that we'd preached all year long.
Well, very excited and happy about the Sugar Bowl bid, but I think that the thing that we have our minds on right now is West Virginia, and that will make the Sugar Bowl that much sweeter.
Here we are talking about the Sugar Bowl before we finished what we came here to do. I was not in a good mood going into that game. And it actually turned out to be the worst game I played all year. People remember and think it was the greatest one. It was the worst game I played all year. For a lot of athletes, when things start to go bad and you get in your own head, how do you get out of it? I hadn't been in that position all year.
The deep fake to Drummond, sideline, and it is intercepted.
Things were going bad. And they went from bad to worse to disastrous.
5 men out. McPherson scrambles, guns it down the middle. It's intercepted. He's getting pressure. He throws down the middle. It's intercepted by Warren. McPherson wants to throw. He's got time. He's going long. It's way out, hanging up, and it is intercepted.
Now, I actually pulled the guys together going into that last drive. And I said, listen, I have played awful. I have let you guys down. I need you guys to help me. I need you guys to do something magical because I don't have it. I remember that feeling of I can't hit the side of a barn. Those guys, looked at me and said, hey man, you're the reason we're here. We're all in this together. Do your thing. Just don't worry about a thing and do your thing. That last drive was the first 10 weeks of the season in one drive.
With their quarterback and team captain struggling, Syracuse's dream of a perfect season was in serious jeopardy. But there was still time left on the clock.
People remember the last 90 seconds of that game. And they don't realize it was the worst game we played all year.
The drive and the decision when Syracuse Legends returns.
I do know that Mac was just keep going, just keep playing.
And he did keep playing. Coach McPherson did not give up on his senior quarterback, who seized the moment and saved the dream of a perfect season.
He was probably the most vocal to me about forgetting the last play. And I mean, what choice did he have? He wasn't going to bench me, right, at 10-0 and I'm up for the Heisman. He's not going to bench me, and every mistake he had to pull another hair. I remember going into that last drive and the last 2 plays of the game. I knew, I called him. Mac will say he called him, but I called him. That last play was 787, which was, isolating Pat Kelly up the middle, 6'6" tight end on a 5'10" strong safety. We win that battle every time. I can give this to Pat. This is an easy toss. I can't screw this one up. I came back to the huddle and I said, Pat, this is you.
15 seconds. West Virginia's coming. McPherson back. They pick up the blitz to the end zone. Kelly, yes! Touchdown!
When Pat scored, I don't think there was any doubt in anyone's mind. There was no doubt in my mind. We were not going to tie this game. Yeah, I don't think there was any question that we were going for 2 and that we hadn't finished the game yet. There was no trickery. This was just straight option football. Either the quarterback or the back is taking it. And so it was just a matter of going left to right.
The ball is on the 3-yard line.
Oh my.
High backfield. One wide receiver, it's Kane. McPherson running the option. Pitching it back. He's in! He's in it! He got into the end zone, Michael Owens!
I remember pitching the ball thinking he's going to get pushed out to 2. you know, he's not going to make it. And then, of course, the reaction after that was just a blur of the realization that he scored and that the game was over. All of a sudden, the fans are there patting you on the back on the field, and that was surreal because they were never on the field.
They're on the field, undefeated, untied.
You look to your teammates and you're like, we did this. You know, we're done. It's in the book.
Syracuse goes to the Sugar Bowl.
We felt very good about who we were, and I think that's all that mattered. We didn't care about Auburn. We didn't care about all the talk of the SEC and all that.
The way we played that whole game, and the way I played that whole game, for you guys to believe that we can go down there with a minute and 30 seconds left and score 8 points. That's belief, fellas. That's what championship teams are all about.
By the time we got to New Orleans, it was time for me to get back focused on football.
We should have ourselves a time on this New Year's Day from the Louisiana Superdome as the Syracuse Orange men and the Auburn Tigers get together for the first time in a college football game.
I think we went into the game as prepared as we could be. We knew that Auburn was good. It was very good.
McPherson has been the main man as he has been all season. He's got the ball, stand up, quick pop, into the end zone.
Auburn didn't expect us to punch him in the mouth, and we did. And we kept on doing it.
Option down the line, McPherson gets around the corner.
They were, without question, the most talented defense we'd faced all year.
McPherson caught and dropped back behind the 45.
When we went up 16-13, I think that we all felt, because our defense was so strong, we're going to stop them. They don't have the kind of offense that's going to drive down the field and score. And we felt we can keep them out of the end zone.
And look what we have here. Win Lyle.
There's no way they're going to kick a field goal and tie this. No one ties the Sugar Bowl. I mean, I think we were more shocked when Win Lyle walked on the field. I think we were more shocked by that by anything.
All right, Win Lyle. Shulman the holder, Hudson the snapper. 30-yard try. Good.
I don't think there was any sense from anyone on our side that it would have ended that way. We were supposed to get beat down, right? No one gave us a chance, and here it is. You know, Auburn's kicking a field goal to tie us to save face in the Sugar Bowl. I never tied a football game. Football was always the game where we had sudden sudden death. Why do you play the game if someone's going to tie? I mean, you play the game so there's winners and losers, and so it just wasn't in our it wasn't in our DNA to understand a tie, and so we were stunned. I remember the locker room being quiet, and that silence turned to anger.
We wanted to go 12-0, then we let everything happen from there. We didn't get there. We got a tie. Would I have gone for the tie? Absolutely not. I would not have gone for the tie, but you are right. I'm not in his shoes.
I remember him talking about our accomplishments that season and how don't let this dampen that. But he was visibly upset. I mean, there was no hiding, and Mac never sugarcoated anything. There was no hiding, how angry he was at their decision to kick the field goal.
McPherson on the day, 11 of 21, 140 passing, but he was the unquestioned leader of the Syracuse offense.
I get a lot of credit for that team in that season, but I always say I wasn't the best player in my own huddle, much less the Heisman Trophy best player in the country. When I look at old games, our defense was phenomenal. I mean, our defense was incredible, and they gave us the ball and put us in great position.
Beasley fumbles the football, and Syracuse gets it back.
It was a really special team to be around because I think as hard as we practiced and played, we laughed just as much, and that's a beautiful chemistry to be around. And the thing that I marveled at most with that team was how good we were at every position. And so when we started winning and we started playing downhill, as Coach Mack would always want us to play downhill, man, we were just good at every spot.
This is Robert Drummond throwing the option pass on first down. He's got a man wide open, two of them, and it's Tommy Kane ahead of the field.
When we started that season, we were coming off a losing season. My name wasn't associated with the Heisman until after the Penn State game in week 6. So I wasn't walking into the Downtown Athletic Club thinking this is my trophy. I actually remember getting into an argument with my mom because she thought I should have won it, obviously, my mother, right? But I said, Mom, look where we are. You know, here we were in the downtown athletic club, you know, for the Heisman Trophy. Look where we are, this is amazing. More people were disappointed than I was about the Heisman. I've never had a day where I felt like I should have won the Heisman Trophy or that I feel an ounce of disappointment. It was amazing. You know, to this day, have my name associated with the Heisman Trophy is, I got lucky. I got lucky.
He didn't win the Heisman Trophy, but Don McPherson still made headlines. He won more than a dozen National Player of the Year awards, and his next challenge on the field was the NFL. And off the field, he had a passion for giving back.
I was blessed with a talent that gave me the ability to talk to people about so important issues. So I better know what I'm talking about.
Coming up, life after football for Don McPherson. That's next when Syracuse Legends returns.
I'm a quarterback, and I proved it. I thought that at the very least I'd earned the opportunity to go and compete.
McPherson did more than just compete. He played 7 seasons in the NFL and CFL before turning his attention to a social issue that still drives him today. It's a unique perspective on life from a man who made his living playing football.
The NFL was not for me. I wasn't the type of quarterback that was playing the game at that time. I loved being on the field with just athletes who were just incredible. I hated the business. I've never liked the business of sports. And so the cold nature of the NFL, of the NFL and the CFL, was something that really just turned me off. Walking away from it was difficult after 7 years professionally, but I would have been done if I didn't get the chance in the NFL. There's only one reason why I played football at the level that I did. I was blessed with that God-given ability, and it is a rare ability. And I recognize that it gave me privileges that I didn't deserve or that I didn't earn just because I could play football. This notion that athletes were good people and should talk to kids about important issues, I wasn't mature enough for that. And so I always felt this really inadequate place as a person because I was just an athlete talking to kids. And so I got more involved in truly understanding the messages that I was trying to deliver to kids. And then I learned about gender, and I learned about masculinity. In the framework of understanding men's violence against women, I started asking men, what was the worst insult you ever heard as a little boy? And that's where I came up with the title, You Throw Like a Girl. It's been the title of the lecture and the book that I'm working on now. And I always say that we don't raise boys to be men, we raise boys not to be women or gay men. Because we're constantly telling boys what not to be. And we're doing that at the expense of women and gay men. Because the first thing we learn is that narrow masculinity, man up, suck it up. So we have to be in this very narrow box of masculinity. The second message we hear implicit in that language, you throw like a girl, you run like a girl, we're hearing that women and girls are less than. And so in that, we're teaching misogyny and sexism, but at the same time, we're teaching a very narrow understanding of our boys, giving them a very narrow understanding of ourselves. And we are doing young men a disservice by not sharing with them that their wholeness is their ability to love and to be compassionate and empathetic, and helping them celebrate that part of themselves. You know, just like playing the game, as I said, either you're 100% in or you're not. And so there was no, I'm just gonna talk about this issue that's important. No, I've gotta be all in. And so, and I've got to examine my own stuff, my own sexism, my own misogyny, my own homophobia. If I'm going to honestly have this conversation with not just young people, but anyone, you have to really do a strong self-examination. And when my life was benefited by masculinity and by sexism, there's no way that, you know, as lucky as I felt to be in a position because of the game of football, there's no way I could hide behind that. Honestly, and do the work that I do. You know, I said this to Chancellor Severin a couple of years ago when he first took office. He said, "Oh, this university owes you so much." I said, "I get way more out of Syracuse University than Syracuse University will ever get out of me. I'm still trying to catch up." And I've never thought about it until you know, the notion I'm still trying to catch up. But I feel like I'm still trying to catch up to be worthy of the things that I've been blessed with.
And blessed he was. Don's programs and lectures on social justice education have reached over 1 million people. He has served on the board of Arc of Onondaga and with the Center for the Study of Men and Masculinity at Stony Brook University. Don was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2008, and in 2013, Syracuse University retired his number 9 jersey. To this day, Don still holds the SU record for highest passing efficiency in one season. That was 1987, the last undefeated season in Syracuse football history. Thanks for joining us on this edition of Syracuse Legends. I'm Mark Larson.
Double play action fake. Downfield, what a grab! Tight ends, the option look. Now McPherson going down the middle. Touchdown, Tommy Cave. Don McPherson running the option, keeping it himself. McPherson into the clear. McPherson down the sideline. 15, 10, 5. He dives in. Touchdown. The option look. And the option keep. Untouched. Touchdown. Nobody laid a hand on Donnie McPherson.